You know that feeling when you're scrolling through travel content and every Norway post looks like it was shot by the same person with the same filter, standing at the same overcrowded viewpoint? Yeah, we're done with that. If you've landed on Passport Unfolded, you already know we're not here to rehash the same tired itinerary your cousin's friend posted on Instagram. We're talking about Norway, the real Norway, the one that exists beyond the cruise ship ports and the selfie ledges. We're going deep into 20 experiences that'll make you feel something, from Oslo's waterfront evolution to the Arctic silence of Svalbard, and everything in between that actually matters. So before we get into it, do me a solid. Hit that like button and subscribe, because we've got a whole world of places that don't make it onto the generic bucket lists. And trust me, you'll want to be here for what's coming next. Let's start in Oslo because most people treat it like a layover, but that's a mistake. Oslo's waterfront has transformed into one of Europe's most compelling urban spaces. I'm talking about Aker Brygge and Tjuvholmen, former industrial docks now pulsing with galleries and restaurants. The real move is to skip tourist traps and head to Vippa, this food hall in a former warehouse on Akershus Quay, where you can eat Vietnamese banh mi, Ethiopian injera, and Neapolitan pizza at communal tables overlooking Oslofjord. The vibe is deliberately unpretentious. Industrial concrete, string lights, where startups mix with students walk from the Opera House to the new Munch Museum in Bjørvika, this 13-story tower that looks ready to tip into the harbor. The whole waterfront tells the story of a city that turned toward the sea instead of away from it. Bergen is Oslo's moody, rain-soaked artist cousin. Everyone knows BRYGGEN, those colorful Hanseatic wooden buildings leaning like drunk friends. But most just snap photos and leave. The real magic is walking into those narrow alleyways where wood is weathered, silvery gray, and the place smells like history. These passages open into hidden courtyards where artisan workshops operate in spaces used for trade since the 1400s. Skip the tourist fish market during the day and hit Fisketorget before 9 when Bergen's chefs select their daily catch. Grab a paper cone of fresh shrimp to eat by the water. For coffee that matters, find Kaffemissionen on Nedre Korskirke Almenningen. This tiny spot, run by people who take beans as seriously as sommeliers take wine. Bergen gets 240 days of rain yearly, and the city has leaned into this atmospheric vibe where everything looks better in mist. The FLÅM railway sounds touristy on paper, but this 20-kilometer journey from Myrdal down to FLÅM is genuinely spectacular. What makes it work is the engineering audacity. This railway drops 860 meters through 20 hand-carved tunnels with gradients so steep, they built 5 separate braking systems. You're watching waterfalls appear from nowhere, cascading down vertical rock faces so green they look tropical. The train stops at Kjosfossen Waterfall, where everyone photographs while a woman in traditional dress dances on a rock ledge in theatrical tourism that somehow works because that water's raw power is undeniable. Sit on the left going down for best views and actually stay overnight in FLÅM when cruise ships leave grab dinner at Eager Brew Pub. this Viking longhouse-style spot where they brew their own beer and serve lamb shank that falls off the bone. NÆRØYFJORD is where you understand why Norway's fjords are emotional experiences, not just geographic features. This UNESCO-listed water finger is sometimes only 250 meters across, with rock walls rising 1,700 meters straight up, creating this cathedral effect where light shifts across waterfalls dropping in silvery threads. Most see it from big ferries, but you're missing the intimacy kayak it with companies like NORDKAPP, paddling in near silence through water so still it mirrors the cliffs perfectly. When you stop paddling, you hear waterfalls echoing and your own breathing and nothing else. There's something profound about being that small in a landscape that big. The drive along Route 243 gives you aerial views that'll make you pull over 17 times. Pack a thermos and cardamom buns from FLÅM. Find a pull-out, sit on your car hood, and just be with it. If NÆRØYFJORD is the intimate chapel, GEIRANGERFJORD is the full cathedral with organs playing and light streaming through stained glass. This is Norway at its most operatic. 15 kilometers of impossibly blue water flanked by mountains where abandoned farms cling to ledges so steep, you wonder how anyone survived. Seven Sisters, waterfall on one side, Suder waterfall on the other, and everywhere there's vertical drama that feels excessive, like nature showing off. Yes, it gets cruise ships, but go late May or early September when crowds thin and light turns golden. The real insider move is driving up to Flydalsjuved and Dalsnibba viewpoints, precipitous lookouts where you see the entire S-curve of fjord laid out below. At Dalsnibba, you're 1,500 meters up on a viewing platform jutting over nothing. Stay at Hotel Union for classic elegance or try Westerås Farm, a working farm turned guest house with breakfast views that'll ruin every other breakfast view. TROLLTUNGA is the hike that broke Instagram, that cantilevered rock ledge jutting over Vatnet Lake 700 meters below. Yes, there's usually a line for photos, but what photos don't show is the 11-kilometer hike each way, taking most people 10 to 12 hours round trip, the way your legs turn to jelly on descent. The alpine plateau you cross where landscape is all exposed rock and wind, stunted birch, and you feel like you're walking on the moon. This isn't casual, it's proper mountain hiking requiring real preparation, good boots, layers for weather, shifting from sun to sleet in 20 minutes. Time it for June or September, and you'll share the rock with dozens instead of hundreds. The first section is brutal, steep ascent making you question life choices. But then you top out onto this plateau and perspective shifts entirely. When you finally reach TROLLTUNGA after hours, inching onto that rock with nothing but air below, all the effort makes sense. PREIKESTOLEN, Pulpit Rock, is TROLLTUNGA's more accessible cousin, meaning it's a 4-hour round-trip hike instead of full-day sufferfest, though still no joke. The payoff is this massive cliff platform sitting 600 meters straight up above NÆRØYFJORD, a flat square of rock that could comfortably fit a couple hundred people if everyone agreed not to get too close to the edge. The hike is steady upward, grind through boulder fields and wooden staircases built into rock, and you'll pass families with small children, which makes you feel either very unfit or concerned about Norwegian parenting. What makes PREIKESTOLEN special isn't just the view. Though the fjord view is mental, tour boats looking like bathtub toys, it's the sheer geometric perfection of the rock shelf itself. This right-angled platform that looks man-made but is geological accident. Start your hike around 5 or 6 evening during summer, when day trippers have cleared out. Stay for sunset when light turns the fjord molten. LOFOTEN is where Norway stops playing by normal geography rules and just makes things up. This archipelago north of the Arctic Circle looks like someone took Norwegian mountains and scattered them into the ocean, creating jagged peaks rising straight from water with fishing villages tucked between. The light here is insane. In summer, you get midnight sun where the day keeps going and your circadian rhythm gives up. In winter, you get blue twilight lasting hours, making everything look like Scandinavian noir. Everyone hits Rene with its red fishing huts reflected in harbor, but real LOFOTEN reveals itself when you just drive, get a car. Follow the E10 highway island hopping across bridges that seem to float. Stop at Unstad Beach where surfers in thick wetsuits catch waves with snow-capped peaks as backdrop. This surreal collision of Arctic and California vibes. Stay in Aurorbu, those traditional red fishermen's cabins converted to comfortable accommodations somewhere like Sakrisøy or Hamnøy, where you fall asleep to water lapping. SENJA is what LOFOTEN was 15 years ago before it became a destination. Still wild, still raw, still figuring out if it wants tourists. This island north of Bodø has the same dramatic mountain meets sea aesthetic as LOFOTEN, but with 5% of visitors, which means you can pull over at viewpoints like BRYGGEN and have the entire panorama to yourself. The west coast along SENJA National Tourist Route is where things get unreal. Switchback roads carved into mountainsides with viewpoints like Tungeneset, where a walkway spirals down to a platform hovering over the ocean with nothing between you and waves. The beaches are white sand edged with turquoise water, looking tropical until you stick your hand in. And remember, you're in the Arctic. Stay at SENJA, this boutique hotel on the northern tip where every room faces water, and the restaurant serves Arctic char with foraged herbs that justify the splurge, drive the circuit. Stop at roadside farm stands selling fresh eggs when you least expect them. Ålesund is the city that burned down in 1904 and decided to rebuild entirely in Art Nouveau style, creating this architectural time capsule that feels like a Wes Anderson film, set on the Norwegian coast. The entire town center is pastel buildings with turrets and decorative flourishes that would look over the top anywhere else, but works perfectly here against islands and mountains. The real way to see Ålesund is climbing the 418 steps up to Fjellstua viewpoint early morning, when light is soft and you see the whole city spread across 3 islands connected by bridges and channels. The fishing harbor is still working and active, and you can watch boats come in with their catch, then follow that fish directly to restaurants like XL Diner. Which looks like nothing from outside but serves some of Norway's best seafood, focused on whatever came off boats that morning. Walk streets around Apotekergata and Kongensgate, where almost every building is a small Art Nouveau masterpiece. The Atlantic Road is 8 kilometers of asphalt and bridges, hopping between skerries and islets on the exposed northwestern coast, and it's one of those drives where the road itself is the destination built in 1989. This stretch of Route 64 between Kristiansund and Molde has become iconic for its dramatic bridge architecture and the way it feels like you're driving across the ocean itself. The Storsøysundet Bridge is famous, the one appearing to lead off into nothing, depending on your angle of approach, creating this optical illusion, making passengers grab the dashboard. But real magic is hitting this road in weather. When waves are crashing over barriers and wind is pushing your car sideways and you realize this wasn't built for calm summer days, but for Norwegian coastal conditions that don't care about your comfort. There are parking areas where you can pull over and walk along shore, and fishing platforms where locals cast for cod like it's the most normal thing in the world. Svalbard is as far north as you can go and still find human civilization, this archipelago, halfway between mainland Norway and the North Pole, where polar bears outnumber people and landscape looks like what Mars would look like if Mars had ice landing in. Long year buy-in feels like arriving on another planet. This mining town turned Arctic outpost where snowmobiles outnumber cars, and it's illegal to die because permafrost won't let bodies decompose. You're here for the absurdity, the extremity, the fact that sun doesn't set from April to August and doesn't rise from October to February. The real experience is getting out of town on guided expeditions. Companies like Hurtigruten Svalbard run boat trips into Isfjorden, where you see glaciers calving into the sea with sounds like thunder. You need a rifle to leave town because polar bears are genuine concern. Which gives every hike this edge of danger that's weirdly thrilling. Stay at Funkin' Lodge if you want comfort at World's Edge. Tromsø is the self-proclaimed Arctic capital, a proper city of 70,000 people sitting 350 kilometers north of the Arctic Circle. And it's one of Earth's best places to see the aurora borealis without disappearing into complete wilderness. From September through March, when nights are long and dark, northern lights dance over the mountains with ribbons of green and sometimes purple moving across the sky like living things. The trick with aurora hunting is understanding it's not guaranteed. You need clear skies, solar activity, and decent luck. But Tromsø's location in the auroral oval means your odds are better here than most places skip expensive tours if you can drive. Head to spots like Telegrafbukta Beach or Tromsø Bridge where you can set up with a thermos and wait. But Tromsø isn't just about lights. The Arctic Cathedral with its dramatic triangular architecture is worth seeing. And eat at Mathallen, this food hall where local ingredients get treated with respect. Hardangerfjord doesn't get the same hype as Geiranger or Nærøy, which is perfect, because it means you can actually experience it without fighting crowds. This is Norway's second longest fjord, stretching 170 kilometers inland, and it's famous for fruit. Specifically apple and cherry orchards, lining its shores that explode into pink and white blossoms every May, creating this surreal collision of fjord and farmland. The east side along Route 7 takes you past Hardangervidda Plateau, Europe's largest mountain plateau. Where landscape flattens into tundra, and you can stop at viewpoints like Fossli Hotel to see Voringsfossen waterfall, dropping nearly 200 meters into canyon below. The west side is where orchards are, particularly around Lofthus and Ulvik. And in summer, you can stop at farm stands selling fresh cherries and apple cider that's nothing like commercial stuff. Stay at Ullensvang Hotel right on water, where Edvard Grieg used to compose. Stavanger is Norway's oil capital, which doesn't sound romantic until you realize oil money funded a sophisticated food scene and design culture, making this coastal city one of Norway's most interesting urban destinations. The old town, Gamle Stavanger, is this district of white wooden houses with flower-filled gardens that Instagram loves, but move past photo ops and you'll find a city with edge. The street art scene here is legit. The New Art Festival brings international artists to paint murals on buildings throughout the city. And you can follow the New Art Plus trail to see works by Banksy contemporaries on unexpected corners. The food scene is anchored by restaurants like Rina, which holds 2 Michelin stars, but you don't need to drop that money to eat well. Head to Fisketorget, the harbor fish market where you can buy fresh shrimp by the bag and eat them standing up while seagulls circle hopefully. Or to Rena Matbaren for more casual plates sharing the same ingredient philosophy. NORDKAPP, the North Cape, is marketed as the northernmost point in Europe. Which isn't technically true, but is close enough that the distinction doesn't matter when you're standing on that cliff platform at the edge of the Barents Sea, watching the midnight sun hover above the horizon at 1 in the morning. Getting here is an expedition. You're driving through Finnmark, Norway's vast northern county, through landscapes looking increasingly barren and treeless, until you reach the island of Magerøya, and then the final stretch to the cape itself. The visitor center perched on the cliff is a bit of a tourist trap with overpriced food and gift shops. But step outside onto the viewing platform and all that falls away. The scale is overwhelming. The cliff drops 300 meters straight into the ocean. And there's nothing between you and the North Pole except water and ice. In summer, you're here for midnight sun. From mid-May to late July, the sun never sets. Just circles the sky in this slow arc, breaking your understanding of day and night. We've covered 20 experiences across Norway that go beyond the standard postcard shots and tourist checklist. From the urban sophistication of Oslo's waterfront to the Arctic extremity of Svalbard. From the vertical drama of the fjords to the horizontal expanse of the high plateaus. Every recommendation in this script is detailed in the video description below so you can build your own Norwegian adventure without following someone else's itinerary. Norway isn't cheap, it's not always comfortable, and the weather will absolutely mess with your plans. But that's exactly why it's worth going, because this is a country that demands something from you, that makes you work for its beauty, and rewards that effort with experiences you'll carry forever. If you found this useful, hit that subscribe button on Passport Unfolded because we're just getting started. And drop a comment letting me know which of these 20 places you're adding to your own travel plans. Until next time, keep exploring the places that aren't in everyone else's feed. And remember that the best travel stories happen when you stop following the crowd and start trusting your own curiosity.